My name is Rocco Vanberg. My parents were both addicts, so we moved around a lot, and I lived in Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee. I was pushed around a lot with my aunts and my sisters, and at age 12, I started using, and so I was just so accustomed to that life. It's really all I knew. At age 15, I got arrested, and I went to jail for a year. Got out when I was 16, and I tried to stay sober as best I could, but I was still in the same environment. When I got out of jail, I was sober for a year. I turned 17, and I got off probation, and then I went back to using. So that's how my life went for quite some time. I went to rehab again in 2011, and I had to get out of Louisiana. And my oldest sister lived up here in Kentucky, here in Lexington, and she asked me for the longest time to move up here. And so I decided to do it. So I didn't have nothing. I knew that I was coming up here with nothing. And it was me and I just met my girlfriend, Hope, in Louisiana. I told her she can come with me or she can stay, but either way I was leaving because I had to get out of Louisiana. So she came with me, and I told her we were going to have to start from the bottom. So basically we made enough money to where we had to pay our weekly rent, which was I think $200 a week for a hotel room. And about that time we found out that she was pregnant, and my daughter Aaliyah was going to be born February 9th. And so with her being pregnant, we needed to get a bigger place because we couldn't live in a hotel. And one day I was using and I went for a walk, and then I woke up 5 days later in the hospital. And well, when I went for the walk, somebody had come up behind me and beat me with a brick and robbed me. I was in a coma for 5 days, and I had 50 staples in my head. When I got released from the hospital, I was back working in 2 weeks. And so it was really hard because I had to learn how to really walk and talk again right, because it messed me up really bad. I couldn't lift my arms over my head, so it was extremely difficult. So I was able to get us our first place, and then my daughter was born on the 9th of February, and it was really good. It was probably the best day of my life. After she was born, we were both doing really good for 2 years, and we had everything I ever wanted. You know, it was just normal because my childhood was so hectic, and I moved around, and I felt really unwanted. We got out of the apartment and got a house down the street. The house was nice, but I was on the methadone clinic at the time, and I was going to switch from methadone to Suboxone, which was a mistake at the time because I guess I just wasn't ready. Suboxone didn't require as much supervision as methadone did, and with that extra free time I had, I started using again. And I hid it from my girlfriend for the longest time, but of course she's an addict too, so she wanted to use also. And she was pregnant again with my son, and we were already pretty wrapped up in drugs again. Me and my little girl were sleeping on the couch at the time, and I heard my girlfriend screaming in the back, and when I went back there, she had blood coming out of her. Well, apparently from the drug use, it was causing, I guess, the placenta to pull away from her uterus, so my son was born maybe 2 weeks early. And we got to the hospital. Thank God he was okay, nothing was wrong with him. But that's whenever the state stepped in and told us they had to take our children. And after that, I don't know, I guess I just didn't reach that point of maturity. I didn't really see what I was losing until it was gone. And of course, whenever they were taken away, it felt like they died. And I attempted trying to kill myself a few times, and with a heroin overdose, but of course I couldn't die. And I lost it for 2 years. I went to court trying to fight to get him back. And it was constant. I went to rehab twice, trying to show the court that I was trying to get my life together, but it prolonged it and prolonged it and prolonged it. And I gave up and I stopped going to court. And I think it was probably the best thing that I could have done for my children, only because if I would have kept fighting for them to go to court, they would have been removed from that foster family and moved to another foster family. And I didn't want them to be moved from place to place to place, because that's the same thing that I went through. My kids were adopted January 1st, 2017. It was a little bit before their adoption, and I was still pretty heavy in my use. And I got beaten and robbed by a friend. He had hit me across the head with a gun, and I ended up in the hospital. And that's, they thought I overdosed on heroin because the person I was with didn't tell them that I would probably suffered another traumatic brain injury. After that last time, I was wore out. I was really tired. I wasn't gonna be able to keep going the way I was. And so I asked my sister for help. Thank God she was able to let me in her house, and the stipulation was I'd have to go back to a treatment program. So that's what I did. I went to Swartz, got in touch with bluegrass.org again, got on the Suboxone program. And whenever I got out after 30 days, I decided to look for my own place. And I was able to find the rescue mission on Google. And it was great. I mean, it was very fast. And I mean, I met Kendra within a month or two. I was housed in my apartment here. And it was really good. And when I told them my story, there was no judgment. All they wanted to do was help. And it's been really good since. I've been clean since October 27th, 2017. It's probably the most level-headed that I've ever been in my life. And I want to be able to have something for my children to come back to. That's like my driving force right now, is to stay alive and to see my kids again.